So my name's Kristy and I work for a company called InvoCare. So we are a funeral company, and at current I support the CEO and the board and assistant COSEC. So I wear quite a few hats. And I'm also currently doing a secondment in the business. So whilst I wear that hat several days a week I'm working in a business manager role in our cemetery and crematory business to sort of learn more and expand my knowledge. I've been at the company about 4 years, so it's a very different industry, but absolutely love it. And yeah, so it's, mum of three, so work pretty long hours, pretty big hours. It's a pretty demanding job working for a CEO. It's a listed company, so we're on the stock market, so we are listed, and that has a lot of regulations around it itself. So yeah, it's pretty much it. It's a big role, but it's enjoyable. I think I felt like I was missing something and I wanted to grow more. So for me, I'm not sort of a straight EA. I was sort of always striving for more. My title was going into that executive business partner. At the moment, as I say, I'm doing a secondment to be a business manager. So I'm actually looking to step out of an EA role, really. But I lacked confidence when it came to the table of writing a business paper or understanding the logistics of even how to start to write a paper. And I had no confidence around that. So whilst I come across as a very confident person, can sit at the table with the executives, sit at the table with the board, so to speak, run the board, look after the board, whatever I need to do for any senior executive. If you said to me, could you help write a paper, I'd crumble. I wouldn't even know where to start. So I had a big gap that I felt like was in my knowledge. And I was researching courses and I didn't really know where to turn, but I certainly knew that going to uni and doing the degree just didn't appeal to me at all. And it wasn't what I was looking for. It was, you go and do a degree at uni and there's so many subjects that are so not relevant to what you need. And I just knew I needed an uplift on what I was doing. So I felt like I had the admin side down pat. I felt like I had the connection side down pat. I could work for the CEO, I could work for the board. I had the confidence in my role as an EA, but there was just a piece missing around my knowledge on how to sort of bring that together in the strategic piece. And so I was talking to Michelle Bodewich, who's a great networker, a great advocate for the EAs out here in Australia. And she said to me, you've got to go to Your Excellency and do the Mini MBA. And I was like, what is that? And she put me onto it. And at first I was a bit hesitant because I have no confidence in myself when it comes to things like that. And I was nervous to take on doing a course because, again, that lack of confidence. And it was a course that I was scared in some ways to do because I knew it was going to sort of hit the mark on all the areas I was feeling weak in my role, in my confidence. So when I sort of first started out, I was really nervous to take it on, and the fact that it was in the UK, so I was dialing on very late at night. I think I was dialing on at 8:30 my time, so working a long day at work, coming home, having dinner and dialing on at 8:30 at night to get onto the cohort that I was with. So it was some dedication to be in the cohort. And when I first got on, I was really nervous, and that nervousness was around knowing that the course was really going to hit the areas that I was feeling I lacked in. And wow, was I blown away, by what I achieved in the course. And it just couldn't have been better. It couldn't have been more designed. It was like somebody sat down with me and asked me what I was looking for in my course and what I needed, and had written it for me. Oh, absolutely. Well, it was ironic. I went and did a course the other day in my office, and somebody speaking about SWOT analysis and things, and I felt so confident to be in the room because I was like, I know what that is now. I've done that in the course. And before I sort of would have sat at the table and writing myself notes, okay, when I get out, I need to Google that. I have no idea what we're talking about. And because I'm sitting at the table with the executives, I just felt like I was missing it. And it's not that I wanted to be at the table with the executives. It was my knowledge I was missing, and I want to grow myself. And it was just, I need to know that I could take myself to the next level. And this was the piece I was missing. So the areas that it had, like, if somebody said to me, come and work in marketing, or could you do something in marketing, I would run 100 miles. I am not design. To me, that's design. To be able to put in a business plan with a marketing plan in it, I achieved something I never imagined I could possibly do. Never even would have attempted that in my real life, day life job without the Mini MBA, because I wouldn't have even known where to start on something like that. And I wouldn't have even attempted it because the word marketing gives me so much fear, because I have no design and no any of those capabilities in my remit. I'm just not that sort of person. To think now that I've done this course and I'm like, oh, I could do a marketing plan. Yeah, it's not about design and glitz and glamour. It's about the plan. So it was about getting my head around what actually is in the actual business plan itself. And that was exactly what I was looking for, to take myself to the next level in that real strategic piece in my role. Look, they were fantastic, especially, if I wasn't feeling great, you could do them. But I loved the face-to-face. I found it better. I'm a real people person. So for me, the fact that we could get on and interact together was just great. So I think it's a fantastic thing to have. I will say the virtual was great in the fact that, well, even the live sessions, Malcolm recorded them. So when you were going back to do the work, he would let us back into the courses to replay some of the lessons, which was fantastic. When you're going back, for me, how do I do that marketing piece? Because that was my biggest milestone and hurdle of the business plan. And look, I think the having it yourself to go and just go on and do the modules that aren't face-to-face are great for some people. Personally, I love the face-to-face. I think the interactive's great. Maybe not 3 hours when you log on at 8:30 at night, but I thought it was fantastic to have both options to everybody. So the commitment is, it doesn't matter whether it's face-to-face or online self-serve. It's about your commitment and what you want to get out of it. And at first I was slightly skeptical because of my lack of confidence, and like, I'm going to go on this course and I'm just going to learn how to do a business plan. Like, that takes years. You can't just write a business plan, and who's going to do a business plan? I see the executives write these business plans at work, and I've actually come out of it, and only 2 weeks ago did I sit down and write a 6-8 page deck and a restructure for one of my bosses on his structure of his operational team, and it was a form of business plan, and I put it to him, and I saw it got lodged to our executive general manager last night, and I was like, I wouldn't have even attempted that for the MBA, not even attempted it. So I sat down and wrote him a new structure, which is his business plan, to put to an executive on a new structure for his whole department, only because I wouldn't have even attempted before the MBA to do that. Wouldn't have even put pen to paper. I would have just sat and just said, oh, we need to sit in a room and you draft it out, and done the whole transactional EA piece in that space. But I just thought, well, what have I got to lose? Give it a shot. I can do this. Put down on paper, sat down, gave it some thought, put my strategic hat on, took some lessons I learned from the MBA, and he actually lodged it to the executive last night, which, yeah, I was blown away. It was a real big achievement to see that go through last night. Yeah, it was my lifeline. So I was doing it tough, as I said. I wasn't well through COVID with the immunisations, and I was overwhelmed with work. I have a really big job and I wear multiple hats, and my workload was huge. And it was a weekend, and I decided that it was just all too hard, and I don't quit things normally. And I just thought, I can't cope. I'm just too overwhelmed. And I put out an SOS on the WhatsApp group to the fellow EAs and went, is anybody else having a tough time? So much so that a few came back straight away and went, yep. So from that, I went back into my mode of, how do we not be this way? Because I don't quit, and I knew I didn't want to quit. And through that WhatsApp group and the peer support that I had by fellow people that work in the in the same industries or the same roles, not same industries, but the same type jobs, we started scheduling weekly meetings and hold each other account. So we had weekly meetings. So they were good enough to come on in their morning. I would log on in my night, and we would make a pact. What are you going to achieve by the next time we see each other next week? And we would do little packs, and, you know, I will have written this piece, you'll have written that piece, let's compare. So it was just phenomenal. I couldn't have got through it without having the cohort of like-minded people on the same journey. So it was just phenomenal to have it, you know, and it's what got me through. It picked me up. I'll never forget that SOS Sunday morning. I put it out, and it was your Saturday night, I presume, now I think about it. And I got a response like that. And from that, we held each other accountable. And here I am speaking to you, because obviously my business plan was really great. And Malcolm's asked me to come and chat. And it was just everything, having that cohort and having that WhatsApp group, and taking the leap of faith just to say, hey, I'm not doing great. Is everybody in the same boat? How are you coping? Was the best text I've probably sent all year, you know. Yeah, absolutely. I would say go into it with open arms, you know, and really enjoy the process, because you will learn so much. You know, embrace the time zone, because it is what it is for the people here in Australia. But I think anybody should take it, and it's really great for all different levels as well. And I think it's a great motivator for all different levels. So for me, I feel like I'm sitting here and I really needed that extra push. But I think it's a great course also for somebody who's at crossroads and maybe trying to find the right place or the right position in their role, or and it teaches you so many factors, you know, your finance modules. As I said, my marketing module blew me away. Like, that was my scary module. You know, I think it was a really great, and to break it down into modules and learn the strategic piece. I mean, my big thing was, how do I even write a business plan? Where do I start? So now I know I've got those core basic understandings of how to kick it off. As I said, I've now done it. I couldn't recommend it highly enough. And I think it's a great recommendation for people of all levels to really take your confidence to that next step. And I think it's just a really, really great. It was a really rewarding process, really rewarding. I had a great coach at work. So I used somebody at work that I could use as a soundboard as well. So use your resources and don't be afraid to ask. So, you know, ask Malcolm for a one-on-one. Use the resources he's offering. So, you know, he offers sessions with Malcolm. Use your peers. Use the WhatsApp group. Don't not ask, because the thing I found out when I asked the questions, how's everybody going? Everybody was feeling the same. It's just that nobody had actually asked it. So once we put out a SOS message, a lot of us were in the same place. And once I found out they were in the same place as me, that just stirred me on to keep going. So use your peers, ask the questions, buddy up with somebody in the course. So I buddied up with one of the girls, and that was the best thing I did, because we kept each other going, kept each other accountable. So, you know, getting a buddy system, getting a group system, and just, as I said, I had somebody at work that also was a good help for me, just somebody that was really good to mentor me and bounce some ideas off to help me in my time zone, because obviously I was in a different time zone, and sometimes I just had an idea that I couldn't, you know, and then when I needed to, I took Malcolm up on the offer to get a one-on-one with him, but don't be afraid to ask the question. I think it's such an unrecognised category of work, you know, because I know that the wage may not be there, but I can certainly tell you my phone's not off ever. I'm available 24/7. I get messages and availability all the time. I have great bosses that respect that, and, you know, I have that. But I work huge hours, and I put the hours in just as my execs do, for very different wage and very different outcomes. But it's a really great inspiring network, and I have a very big motto. We have a group of EAs at work, and it's interesting. Once I finished the MBA over the last year with Michelle, who recommended Your Excellency to me, I've been working with her, and I just had her come into our work and do a mentor group day for all the EAs, because I'm just so empowered now by what I've achieved, how far the MBA's pushed me. I'm actually making a shift out of being an EA, but that's because I've just taken an absolute leap of faith to further my career into something even more for me. But I couldn't have done it without the support, and and I want to give all the EAs at my work every opportunity they possibly can have to have everything they want out of their careers. And it's not to pivot out of being an EA, because the EA has taken me on my journey to get to where I am today, and I love every piece of it. And to be an EA, you've got to really enjoy it, and it's not easy, and people think that it's just, people have no concept really of what the role is. And it's one of the most demanding roles you can work in, I personally think. And I think it's one of the most undervalued roles sometimes in a business, because you're always there, you always do, you always pick it up, and you always take the extra. And I certainly know I always take the extra, and so do the team at work. And to have a course like this was just phenomenal, to finally see that I could, I was blown away that this was there for me. This was exactly what I needed. And I looked at so many courses, and as I said, you could go and look at different courses, but nobody factored in the fact that this is my industry, this is my role. I needed a course to take me from transactional to strategic and allow me to take my extra step. So take me to be that EVP and be able to write that paper, but there's not a course for that. And I was just really fortunate that I could commit and find it in the UK. So, I know I shouldn't say it, but he needs to come here and run it in Australia so we can do it at normal hours.